Hope you're doing well. Again, first chance I've had to get on here and do a review, match reaction of everything. Um, it's just as I've put on my title. When is this nightmare going to end? It's just horrendous. It's just so bad. Um, the way we play, it's just so bad. The feeling around the club, the atmosphere in the stadium. You get the feedback from people that were there. They said it was just quiet and dead. When the lineup come out, there was no excitement. I don't know anymore. It's just getting harder and harder and harder to have any enthusiasm to watch games, to do previews, to do reviews. I respect the big boys, the big channels out there, the West Ham fan TVs, Claret and Bowes, Hammers Chat, etc. That really, have that energy and motivation. You can see it even sucking out. The energy's getting sucked out of them as well, though. To really get on here and talk about that dross every week. Like it just reminds me back of the Avron Grant days. It reminds me of uh Kirbishley and all that. It's just so bad. It's so bad. There's no point really going into any of the goals and stuff like that. Were some of their goals a bit lucky? Yes, but they were playing in second gear most of the time. Well, first gear, didn't get into second gear. Um, we hit the woodwork 3 times. Again, ifs, buts, maybes. If Kudus's shot goes in, gives us something to hold on to, and it becomes slightly different. Not in my opinion. I think Liverpool would have just flicked the switch, and they would have gone and got more and more goals. Defensively, there's nothing there. The midfield is non-existent. And, a lot of people have said it with the Kudus performance yesterday, who probably was our best player, maybe the best player on the pitch. It's a shot window performance. That's all that was. Where's that been the last few weeks, It's not been there. You'll probably see it again against Manchester City, that same sort of level of performance. And then he'll just go off until he gets his move, whether it's in the next few weeks, because obviously the transfer window opens in a couple of days, or whether it will be in the summer. I don't see where the points are coming from. I really don't. You look at the fixtures. It's obviously Manchester City's next. Won the game the weekend, didn't it? You watch them go on a little run now, find their form. West Ham was a perfect team to play, to carry on and get 2 wins in a row. Then you got Villa in the cup. I think you got Villa again later. You got Fulham. I can't remember all the fixtures off the top of my head, but I looked at them and I thought, God, the next 6, I can't see a win. I cannot see a win. It just, and then you're thinking. I know a few days ago I was saying, we're probably just enough out of it in a minute, but in 6 games' time, a couple of them teams find a bit of form underneath us, and then you're right back in the mix. And then you're thinking, who are we going to buy? Who's going to be the manager? Are the players up for it? Are these players up for the challenge? Probably not. And you start worrying. You really start worrying. Obviously, Bowen picked up an injury yesterday as well. I just don't know. It looks like he makes it up on the spot. He really does. If something's not working, he'll chuck on just different subs to see whether that works. He never seems to get the formation right from the start. Like Wan-Bissaka was put on the left-hand side, and what did he do? Was he anywhere near Salah at any time? No. Kilman had a good burst upfield, looked good, but defensively was poor. Ariola made a couple of good saves, but then, one of the, I think it was Salah goal, maybe should have had a bit stronger hand to that. Emerson didn't do anything. Paquetá was poor. Bowen was poor. Fulkrug was poor. Summerville didn't really do anything when he came on. He got body checked really bad. And put on the floor and looked like he'd been winded at one point. And then obviously Tobido comes on. Mavropanos just not for me. I think if we can somehow ship Mav out, I would. I don't think he's good enough for West Ham. I really don't. I'll tell you what, the shining light for me, and the sad thing is we probably won't see him again for 6 weeks, because that just seems how it is when Guilherme come on. I thought he got the ball, didn't he? I was saying to my dad, I was like, let's see what he does when he actually gets a ball, whether he can take and make a moment for himself. And he nearly did. Obviously, he picked the ball up, cut in on his left foot, boom, released a wicked shot, took a couple of deflections, but did hit the post. But I see, I think it was, I think Nick said it. It was either Nick or Gio. I can't remember. I was watching all the videos this morning, catching up, saying about Guilherme. Listen, he's bigger than Jimmy Somerville. You know, he's bigger built. He's a taller guy. He looks physically more ready. What's he got to do to play? What's he got to do to play? That would at least give the West Ham fans, you know, something to look forward to. Because at the moment, every game is a struggle to watch. It's a struggle to get through. Whenever we win, it's how did we win that? You know, there's never, apart from the Ipswich game 4-1, which is a bit of a taboo, really, when you look back now. That 4-1, apart from that, every win, and especially recently, even though we went 4 games unbeaten, you're looking to think, how the hell have we come out of them games unbeaten? Record shots against us in a couple of the games, you know, 15s, 20 shots against us. Goalkeeper has to have a worldie to keep us in games. We're terrible. We are. We're a terrible football team. We're a terribly run football team. We've got players that don't want to be there. We've got players we've brought in that are not good enough. Players that are regressing in terms of where they were last season. A manager that's got not a Scooby-Doo, no identity. You've got a chairman that's sitting there with his son with his Russell Brand haircut, who doesn't know whether he wants full control or not full control, and then puts his fingers in pies. And there was a really good, you know, quote in terms of, you know, we all know the line, you buy cheap, you buy twice. And that's what's going to happen. And it just feels like it's really getting bad there again. And you just, listen, we can sit here and moan about managers, we can sit here and moan about players, all we want to. We're blue in the face. Nothing changes till that man goes. And who knows how long that'll be. I think he's 76 next year. You know, how much energy has he got left for it anymore? Who knows? Who knows? And it just seems like we're a club in limbo until they go, until he goes, until he sells, and until someone comes in with ambition and really wants to go for it, mate. Really wants to go for it. Then we're stuck, you know. Someone said it about Forest, about, you know, they've had a go. At least they've had a go. And I reckon in January, which is 2 days away, it would not surprise me if Forest go and gets a couple of players just to go, let's try and get over that line. You know, Aston Villa, let's try and get over that line. Let's actually try and break that ceiling. Where West Ham, we get to the point where we get to like a semi-final of Europa League. We get to the point where we're sitting 5th in December. I think one year under Allardyce, we were sitting 4th in December. And then they don't go again. They just think, we're safe. We're safe. We're done. We're safe. That'll do. That'll do. And that's the problem. I'm sorry, this has gone right off from a review of the game, but it's all in context, because, like I say, Lopetegui goes on a 5-game losing streak, which could happen. Who are we getting in? Who are we getting in? It's not going to be them first choice. We won't go and get Areola, I can never pronounce his name, out of Bournemouth. We won't go and get Marco Silva out of Fulham. We won't go and get the best in class for our level of football club. We will go and bring in a Potter. I'm not saying Potter will do a bad job, but he might do a fantastic job. You could go and get a Carrick. You could go and get a Scott Parker. And I was talking about him the other day about how he's doing really well at Burnley. If you look at them, they're 3rd in the table. They play good football. He's not afraid to rattle cages. We've seen him walk out of Bournemouth. Maybe that was a slight mistake on his part, and maybe he's learnt from that. But he's a good manager. He's a West Ham icon. You've got Michael Carrick doing a fantastic job at Middlesbrough. It's terrible. It's terrible. I am going to go in the comments quickly, guys. Thank you for the comments. Glenn says all shares need to be sold. He also says one new owner of a minimum 75% alone. West Ham Massive says, hi Luke, hi mate, hope you're doing well. Villa fans says, the ownership is the main problem. They don't know how to employ good managers and they are scared to pay money and pull the trigger. Yeah, and it's paying money at the right time. We're there. We've been there, that close to where, I assume you're a Villa fan because your name, we could have got there. We could have got that fourth. There was the year that Leicester won the league under Bilic, we would have invested. We could have got someone. There was the year that we got to semi-final Europa League, and we, instead of going and buy someone, we didn't. The year before that, the year we qualified, obviously when we got Lingard, who was incredible. But if you would have got Lingard and a striker, I do believe we would have got Champions League that year. And then we just fall back. Like when we don't do it, after about a year after not doing it, or maybe 2 years after not doing it, we fall right back to where West Ham was 10 years ago. And then it takes us another 10 years. You watch West Ham probably won't get in Europe again for another 10 years because it will take us that time to rebuild the squad. We've got to a point over the last couple of years where we can get an Alvarez, we can get a Paquetá, we can get a Kudus. We would not be able to go and sign those sort of players now because we're not in Europe. And the plan has been seen, has been figured out now. Don't even want to watch Hammers anymore. Passion's gone, same as last year. I agree with you, mate. It's so hard, especially when you make a YouTube channel and you've got to, you've got to go and, I haven't got to, it's not about money. It's more about, for you subscribers, seeing the previews, seeing the reviews and getting a chat to you guys. It's so hard to have that enthusiasm to do it when we're so bad. Ralph says, we are a dying club. Fans are turning their back, me included, after 50 years. Sullivan has finally done. I agree, mate. There's loads of comments out there on Twitter yesterday. I put one out, didn't I, saying this is not West Ham anymore. Those clubs have surpassed us. They have. West Ham Massive says, I was surrounded by Germans with 50-50 scarves. Most were probably Liverpool fans or just Premier League fans. At the end, they are being prohibited holding the scarf, gurning like a Cheshire cat. Yep. Put Noble in his caretaker and take time for the right man. Yeah, I'm not against Kevin Keane as well. Cockney Boy says, hi, Luke. Glenn says, next level scares Sullivan's pockets. It does, mate. He wants to, he's happy finishing 14th every year, 15th every year. Probably even lower than that, he'd be happy as long as it's not relegated. West Ham's Massive says, this is the reason the atmosphere is flatter than my chest. Nobody knows the words to the songs or cares. Yeah, and the pockets of singers has gone, isn't it, mate? Craven says, we rarely sign players in January as Moyes wouldn't buy anyone as he loved flogging the same players over and over. Glenn says 8th to 17th to keep the balance books. Boycott will be the only language Sullivan would understand. Problem is, it needs to be a big movement, mate. The closest we get, going over old history here, the closest we came was just before COVID. I genuinely believe if COVID wouldn't have hit, they were close. I think he was close to going, Sullivan. I think he got lucky with COVID that we couldn't protest because the momentum was so good. And then during COVID, obviously, we had that great run with Lingard, etc. He got lucky. And whether we've got the energy or the momentum to build that sort of, level of protest again is anyone's guess. Look, when I heard you signed Lopetegui, I knew he wasn't going to do well. He almost got Wolves relegated. Okay, he did reasonably well at Seville, but not enough quality for the Prem. The problem is all hope is gone. New manager, new signings, but no faith anything changes. The old West Ham has gone. It certainly has, mate. And it's really sad when you read comments like that. Only song anyone sings is Bubbles. Even Ludo didn't get the reception I hoped he would, diluting the support with customers. And this is customers. Yeah, just on Ludo. Really, really sad. Obviously, I'm 39. I'm 40 in a few weeks' time. The first sort of real goalie that I remember at West Ham, Big Ludo. Met him before as well in a pre-season game at Dagenham. He was just walking through the car park. Giant, huge man. Obviously, absolute legend and real sad, really sad to hear his news yesterday. I never wanted to Canio as manager, as I'm sure it would be a disaster, but would love to see some passion and pride at West Ham. He would have got the club, mate, and Paolo's my god, mate. But I agree with you. As a manager, he's a bit of a looney tune. But he would have got the club. He would have got the fans, and the fans would have loved him. Luke, we need our identity back. Get Keenan for the rest of the season. Yeah, we just need someone who gets West Ham a bit, mate. I've got to agree with that. How many bluffs has it got left before we drop? We're on our knees as it stands. He will be here for Villa, I'm quite sure. Probably will be here for Fulham as well. Yeah. 40 Luke, in your prime, can you play up front? I was more of like a holding midfielder because I didn't want to do the running. You know, I'm not a runner. I'm definitely not someone who runs. I'm a luxury player where I sit in midfield and pass the ball left and right and got a nice shot on me. Definitely not a runner, mate. I can't do no running. Nice to see the players putting a performance for the legend like Ludo, wasn't it? They couldn't even respect that 100%, mate. Don't get me wrong, yeah, Liverpool, fantastic football team. But we didn't even lay a glove on them. We didn't even rough them up, put a nasty little tackle in, and these pretty boy players absolutely smash them up in the air. Put ourselves on them. Nothing, absolutely nothing. Stewards at Upton Park were all fans. Here they are mainly Arsenal fans, so couldn't care less if fans are in the home end until it kicks off. Yeah, mate. The stewards over Upton Park, brilliant. Where I used to sit, you probably remember, mate. Geezer always used to come with a white jacket, shaved dead. But he was a bit of a character over there. But he got it. He got West Ham. 90 minutes at home, 0 shots on target. Says it all. Awful. Andy Smith says, "Go get Carrick." Yep, not against that, mate. Not against that either. Oh, did you really? West Ham, great again. Make West Ham great again. Great name, that, mate, as well. Earlier today, I spotted James Tompkins in the arcade at Westfield. Here we go. Good player. I like Tonks from Basildon as well, just up the road from me. He must be better than Mavropanos and Kilman. He was a good centre back. Him. I like big Tonks. And I think the problem with Tonks at times was he was hung out to dry by Upson. Upson would be the one coming out with a ball looking all pretty, when it was Tompkins that had probably done the dirty work to save him. Love how we just write off games. He's got to beat Villa. Mental, this club. Mate, it's hard to see where wins come, mate. I wouldn't even say we've written off games. I think I've written off the whole season, mate. The season's done. We're not going to get in Europe. And hopefully we don't fall too low into the relegation battle, which means the season is done. We'll be at the FA Cup next week. And it's over. It's sad. Bought my Fulham ticket the other night. Now dreading it, sadly. I won't be going back this season. I very much doubt it. Last game I went was Tottenham away, actually, was last game I went. I went Ipswich at home. I went Bournemouth at home, the cup game, which was awful. And I was really, really optimistic at the beginning of the season. I budgeted a few quid here and there where it was like, oh yeah, go that game. It sounds terrible, fan, and it is terrible. You've got to be there rough and smooth. But I just can't do it. I can't, I've got to go all the way from Benfleet, which ain't that far. But, you've got to do all that queuing up, all that, and then to watch that crap. This is meant to be my hobby. This is meant to be my entertainment, where what I do to relax and enjoy myself. I get nothing out of that, I tell you. Paqueta, Soufal, Mavropanos all need to be binned. I think I would add Kudus to that as well, purely because he don't want to be there, and I'm not sentimental with players anymore. I think the players have lost heart. Kudus only plays against top teams. I said that earlier, mate. That was just a shop window performance. Yeah, it's done. Agreed. Kudus looked okay on the right. Loppy masterstroke moved into the left. Tactical mastermind. If I don't laugh, I'll cry. His subs are quite confusing. Yeah, I don't get it. Mate. I don't. Got to admire Sully's game plan. He wants Potter as a free, but the fans don't. So keeps Lopetegui as long as it takes for the fans to be so desperate they will set Potter and be grateful. Kudus looking for a new club. That's why he turns it on. Yep, let him go. 42 years as season ticket holder since 83. And I'm close to walking away. It's sad, mate. It's sad to hear, but a lot of people are on the same hymn sheet as you, mate. West Ham has become a chore watched through a feeling of obligation. Yeah, mate. Like I said, there's no excitement for me. And then I see the lineup and you know what I mean? I can't swear on this channel. And you're just like, where's it gone? And it's so quick that's happened. I was so optimistic at the start of this season. I was so you know, ready to back Lopetegui. He wasn't my first choice. He wasn't a choice at all. But I was really ready to go. The transfer window was good. Just crap. Absolute crap. I hate the players don't give a... Yeah, I agree, mate. Always used to fancy us against bigger teams. Now I just wonder how many they're going to score. Yeah, I always used to say with West Ham is when we play a big team like Liverpool, Chelsea, Tottenham, Arsenal, blah 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 blah. I always used to go, "We're due one, we're due one," and probably twice a year, Upton Park Days, and to a certain extent, sometimes London Stadium as well, we're due one. I don't see us getting a result against a big team this year. Newcastle was a fantastic result, but I don't see an Arsenal or a Chelsea or a Liverpool City, any of them. I don't see us scalping any of them this year. And that's sad as well. That used to be at least one thing to take some limelight away from us. I think Irvan did more in 15 minutes than Packard did in 90. Give the Iron Brew and Iniesta a go. City, why not? Why not, mate? Why not? Honestly, why not? Boring football. Sorry, I skipped the comment there. Yeah, Irvine was okay. Maybe unpopular, but Kudus plays for himself. Mate, I agree, mate. I'm not a Kudus fan anymore. As soon as you say you want to leave West Ham, goodbye. Cheerio. I'm done with falling in love with... I think the only one that would hurt me if he left now is Jared Bowen, because I think Jared Bowen is, because of the goal in the cup final, because of the Danny Dyer stuff and because of that affiliation, that man could retire a legend at West Ham if he stays to the end. That would hurt me. That would hurt, But when Declan, goodbye. I fell in love with players before. Joey Cole was my favourite player as a kid. Trevor Sinclair. God forbid I shouldn't say this really, but my first ever favourite player at West Ham was Frank Lampard Jr. Because I used to love players that could, hit an absolute rocket. I used to love Johnny Artson. I've had my heart broken by those players when I was a kid. I don't fall in love with West Ham players anymore. You don't want a beer? Go. Cheerio. We're bigger than you. West Ham, is 125 year, institution. You're just a player that will come and go. And my wife cannot stop shouting in that living room, doing my nothing. Newcastle was a fluke. Only players I would keep are Bowen, Kilman, Wan-Bissaka. The other regs can do one. Pac-Man and Kudus, let them go. I think that's what you call Kudus lock fallout. Such a fair comment, mate. Expectation was high at the start of the season with the money we spent and having Pac, Kudus and Alvarez. Now I don't care if they all jog on. I think a lot of you are the same, mate. I think a lot of people have that same sort of expectation, mate. I think it needs a reset, a complete reset. Where do you stand with Steeden as well? I don't know where I stand with him. If you're not going to give the man full reign to get the manager he wants and get the players he wants, you can't go, oh, it hasn't quite worked out with this one. Apart from Fulkrug, which was a wrong decision, it's really, really hard. Glenn says most are on the same page, to be fair. Right, guys, thank you so much. There's few views watching. One thing I just want to request is just boom, touch that like button. Takes half a second. Touch that for me before you leave. If you're not subscribed and you're new, please do subscribe. We're trying to hit 5k, which would be great for us. Subscribe to West Ham Massive as well. He's in the chat. I think you still do your channel, mate, don't you? It's a really good channel, so get over there as well. I'm just going to read out these last few comments. Once upon a time, we were a team viewed with respect and admiration. Now everyone is laughing at us. Brook Dev says he's liked and sub. Thanks a lot, mate. I think Hammers fans are in the same bout. Sick. Rotten from the top, from the bottom. That's why my fear. It's little tweaks make no real impact. Scarf man out. And yep, still plodding along. Thanks, Luke from West Ham. Massive. Mavropanos is a signing as well. Right. Thank you so much, guys. I'm going to leave it there. I've gone for a little bit longer than I wanted to. Thank you for commenting along. Really appreciate it. Really random time, Monday afternoon. I'll be back for the City game. God, how am I going to get the passion to do a video for that as well? That's going to be another riding. Yeah, enjoy your new year, guys. That's probably the next time you'll see me in the future, in 2025. Come on, you irons. Keep believing. Let's go.